What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Super Gamer Boys Live. I am your host, Zech Keenan, being joined by the Garrett Morlang. Say hello, Garrett.
That's my name, the Garrett Morlang.
The Garrett Morlang. And the homeboy himself, Adrian Holmes.
Hey,
how's it going?
Doing all right. How about yourself, Garrett? I can't believe you missed that opportunity to say hello, Garrett.
Well, you know, not everyone is 3 years old. So
come on, man.
That would have been funny. I would have laughed.
No, it would have been. I'm just jealous. That's all. That's why I'm being a jerk about it, because it would have been funny, but I'm not that funny.
You're not that quick.
Yeah,
well, you know what else isn't that quick? The Medium, which is what we're going to be talking about tonight. This game is
pretty good.
Oh man, I got a plethora of thoughts and feelings and emotions about this game. I cannot wait to talk about them with everybody on the stream. But before we get into that, I want to let everybody know this is Super Gamer Boys, which is actually a Super Gamer Boys Live as a branch of the Super Gamer Boys podcast, which you can get every other week over on your favorite podcasting platform of choice. Mine is Overcast. I love that app. It's my favorite. We're there. I listen to it all the time.
So good. Use Overcast.
I am a paid pro member, and I haven't looked back since. No ads.
Shabby.
I think I am too, though. Even though I have ads, but I have the dark mode. I think you have to pay for the regular one to get the dark mode, right?
I don't know. I just know that I don't have ads and I have dark mode.
Well, I'm a sucker.
You are. Oh man. So this episode is only made available via our Patreon subscribers for everybody to watch. So if you want more awesome live content like this, please go on over to patreon.com/supergamerboys and drop us, give us $1, for every month.
Support us so we can make this cool stuff.
Yeah. It's always fun. Or subscribe to our Twitch channel, which you're viewing on now. Make sure to hit that bell. Smash that like button. Oh yeah, that YouTube.
Mash it.
Mash it. It's mash the like button. I'm a dad. I'm not up with the cool kid lingo.
I make things up. Also, if you have Amazon Prime, it means you have Twitch Prime, which means you get a free sub every month, and it doesn't automatically re-up. So if you have Amazon Prime, Twitch Prime, hit that subscribe button. Use your free sub. Doesn't cost you anything, and we get $5 from Jeff Bezos. Yeah. Well, not from Jeff
not
Bezos.
Anymore.
Not anymore. He's stepping down.
So I don't know who it is. I'll have to memorize someone else's name now. But yeah, so go ahead and do that. It's free.
Oh man. Yeah, and then one last housekeeping item. If you guys are on the Discord and you have anybody watching this episode right now, be sure to go check us out on Discord. supergamerboys.com/Discord. Okay, and hang out with us. Tell us how much you disagree with all of our opinions, especially mine, because I've got a pretty unpopular opinion just about everything. So it's always fun. It's always lively.
No comment.
It's very lively.
Wouldn't be fun if you didn't.
It wouldn't be. I'm what makes the world special.
Another quick shout out. We're really close to 100 subs on YouTube. So if you go to supergamerboys.com/YouTube, if we can get 100 subs, that'd just be awesome, because that's a huge milestone, at least for me personally. That'd be really exciting. And we get the vanity URL. So then it's youtube.com/supergamerboys instead of vice versa. So it just makes me feel a little more official. It's more just self-validating for me. But yeah, go over there and sub and tell all your friends too.
That'd be awesome. I would love you forever and ever. And there's no such love as Zech love. You can take that to the bank. So tonight, the topic at hand is the Medium. We're going to be giving we've had the game now in our hands for about a week, and we're just going to be going through our first impressions of it, avoiding any and all spoilers. So this is a spoiler-free zone. If you spoil this podcast, I will boot you from the chat.
Oh, okay.
So, okay. But love you.
Well, you can't boot me because I'm streaming it. So if you boot me, I guess that just ends the show, huh? So I can spoil everything I want.
If I can save our Twitch viewers from getting spoilers of a game that they might potentially want to play, which hopefully they won't after listening to this podcast.
Oh shoot!
Yo, wait.
Okay.
Right there.
That's a spoiler for our show.
Right.
Yeah, I'm kicking you right now. I'm gonna boot you out of this call.
Stream over. We're done. We're out of here. All right.
All right.
And
no, I'm just kidding. Honestly, Okay, I'm gonna let you gentlemen give your opinions first, because I got a feeling I don't like this game as much as I think you guys actually do end up liking this game. I think Adrian, I think you've been the most positive about it. So Adrian, let's go ahead and start with you.
I think the medium is a more interesting concept than it is a game. I don't know if that's how you guys feel. I think the dual rendering is an interesting idea. It's a cool way to show off the power of the console, but I don't think in practice it's as baked as they thought it was. I like the story. I like where it's going. The performances are pretty good. The atmosphere is probably the best part of the game, I think, overall.
Maybe.
Oh, hands down, yeah.
I don't know how I feel about Marianne's performance sometimes. Sometimes it gets a little flat for me, and sometimes it works. I don't know if that's a spoiler. I'll say the antagonist is pretty well thought out. I like their energy. I like where that's going. I like that we don't see them a whole lot, at least so far. I should also mention I'm only about maybe a few hours in. I hear it's pretty short, so
yeah.
So yeah, I think online when I looked it up, most people, so the average is like 8 hours, but a lot of the YouTube videos I looked up of people's gameplays, they were done in 5 hours. So if you like,
so I'm probably a pretty good chunk in there.
Yeah. Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah.
What are you playing on?
Series X.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. I'm playing mostly on Series X. I did drop into PC just to see how it felt, and the nice thing about it is I do feel like it actually does play pretty well from platform to platform. So, and saves and everything is pretty nice too. So I just wish I had like xCloud on my phone so I can actually test it out there, but I don't.
Right.
So
yeah.
Garrett.
One day.
Overall, big picture, how do you feel?
Okay, so for me, I feel like I'm just gonna agree a lot with both of you. Like I like both of your guys' points here, but today the biggest thing I was thinking of is like I adore like the feel of the game, like the smell, the taste, whatever you want to call it, like the
you can
ambiance.
smell and taste it?
Oh, this game is stanky. It's so good. I love it. Like I love the feeling of the game. Like it's got a why can't I think of the word? Adrian just said the word. What in the world did you say? I'm
ambiance?
like, maybe the ambiance.
Atmosphere?
Yeah, whatever. Atmosphere. That's what I'm gonna like. The atmosphere of
Oh.
this game is just like, I'm an idiot, guys. I'm sorry.
Wait.
The atmosphere of this game, impeccable. Like I think they nailed that.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, they even have a story that, at least for me, has got me like super interested.
Yeah.
For me, it comes down to the gameplay just completely wrecks the whole experience for me. Because even like on PC, I'm playing on PC, it looks amazing as the option to turn ray tracing on. Like ray tracing looks pretty dang good. Yeah, but it's just, so overall, I love so much of it, and yet just the smallest thing, the gameplay. I mean, maybe not that small, but it's enough to mess it up for me. It's enough to ruin the whole experience. So I
think it would have been a better movie.
100%. Which I'll talk more about that later. We're just doing overviews right now, but yet that's a very valid, good point.
Yeah, but generally, bird's eye view of this game, everything you both you gentlemen said put together is that on the one hand. I put it to you like this, okay? The game is slow and boring, okay? But the story is interesting enough to keep me playing. So, and by slow and boring, I don't mean pacing. Like, I don't mind slow movies, okay? I don't mind slow games as long as I'm able to, as long as I feel like I'm pushing at the speed I want to push, This game, I feel like the walking and the exploration are so dialed down. Like I'll be like, oh, I gotta go open that door over there, and then the walking speed, even the running speed, feels like it's all in slow motion. Like it's just like it's like she's purposely taking baby steps to get there.
Okay.
It's like, and then when she runs, she just walks the same speed, but her arms is going like this.
It's Resident Evil without the run button.
Yeah, it's like so, which is fine. I don't mind an old school Resident Evil game, but you gotta acknowledge that you gotta learn how to take the best parts of those games and modernize them. And the boring part of those games is the walking. No one liked that. That's boring. Stop it. So
not making me move.
Yes,
I don't like to do that.
I don't like standing still. Oh, I'm not standing still. Oh, okay. I'm getting like seriously. Like they probably had to slow down the walking so much because the game would be over in 4 hours.
Oh, 100%.
And no one's gonna drop $60 on this game.
Is this game $60?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah,
no
Google
way.
It.
Yeah.
Look it up. Finalize it. But yeah, that's
Hold on.
yeah. I'm playing it. I'm playing it through Game Pass.
Me
and and seriously, me too. Like I would not pay any amount of money for this game. I would only ever play it through Game Pass. So
on Steam, it's on sale right now already for like $45. But let's
full
see.
price
On Epic, it's okay. So for full price, it's actually only $50, but they have a deluxe edition that's $55. So it's $50. So it is. So it's a little less than a full, but it's not
still.
But it's this could easily be a 40.
Still.
This could easily be like 30 to 40 range.
I was gonna say 34. $34.99.
Yeah.
I think would have been a sweet spot.
Yeah.
But
that's a lot. $50.
Bonkers.
Yeah. So that's the game is gorgeous.
I can get RE2 and 3 for $50.
Yeah. And those games are both scarier than this game. So that's the other thing too, is this game is supposed to be a psychological horror, okay? Which to me is fine. I don't mind psychological horror. Like Alan Wake, I felt like except for the ending. I did not like the ending of Alan Wake, but I felt like Alan Wake was a really good psychological horror game. Even Control. Okay? Control is a masterclass in psychological horror. This game just doesn't know what it wants to be.
Yeah, even Bluebird team who makes it, even one of their other games, Layers of Fear, is incredible, like psychological horror game. Like I love Layers of Fear, one of my faves. Like like so terrifying, and yeah, I didn't realize it was the same company that made it. So when I found that out, I was actually really bummed. I'm like, oh no, like what happened?
They did this.
They did this.
What have they done?
They also did Observer. I should probably get into some background so people kind of get. So this game was first announced back in 2012, and it was originally supposed to come out on the 360, PS3, and Wii U. Can you imagine that? Flash forward 8 years.
I'm so curious how they were going to do that. How were you going to dual render? Maybe they were just going to switch back and forth.
That's why, they needed to wait for a more powerful console. And they were like, oh, we can finally do what we actually wanted to do, which is dual render.
Yeah. But imagine if they were able to dual render and like one was up on the TV and one reality was on your handheld. Like
on the gamepad,
that would be pretty dope. But the Wii U would have lit on fire.
Just exploded and
I mean, you could just scale the visuals back and still do it. It wouldn't be ray tracing and all of that,
and you'd probably move a lot slower too.
A cool 720p. Hey, you might get it to go.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, and I think the Wii U handset was 720 at max. So, which is fine.
Real pretty, yeah.
But
on the screen.
Yeah, it's developed by Bluebird Team, which Garrett already said. Layers of Fear. They did that. They did Observer recently, and they did Blair Witch.
That's the other one. I did not realize they did Blair Witch. So when I heard that, then it almost like at first I'm like, what? Layers of Fear? Like that game was awesome. And I heard Blair Witch. I'm like, okay, well that makes more sense. Like I did not love Blair Witch, so I'm like, okay. I
didn't even get a chance to play it.
Yeah, it's on Game Pass, or it was on Game Pass for a while, anyways. But
I heard it looks good, but that's about it.
Yeah, it was.
Sound like anything else,
It was fine. Yeah, same old. Oh man,
and I feel bad. I feel like I'm giving Bluebird Team too much trash because honestly, the I don't want to use the word gimmick, but what they achieved with this game is great. The dual rendering, that's the
main feature.
The main feature, yeah, you know what I mean? Which the main draw was, you can render two worlds at one time, which is cool. Except it loses its luster when
why?
There is no reason for it in this game. I'm like, why can't I just bounce between both? Some of the puzzles I get, like, but because I mean, I guess solving the puzzle in real time is nice, which is cool, but it's not enough for me to be like, sweet, I can't wait to do more environmental puzzles.
Right.
You know?
And it doesn't even like make sense narratively. Like, how do you explain that she's seeing, like, how does one person see two realities at the same time? Unless like what we see on the screen is like what she sees in her head. Like, is she looking at herself and these two, like narratively, like, how do you rectify that where it's like, oh yeah, no, like, it's like one eye, one reality, and the other eye, another reality.
Yeah,
like,
maybe.
It's like,
and
like she's like going like this.
Distinguish it? Because I had that question. Like, what is that? The first 20 minutes of the game when you first meet one of the characters and you have to go up some stairs.
Yeah.
How did you know you couldn't go up those stairs if you're looking at the spirit world? What?
Yeah.
Make it make sense.
Yeah. And the other thing too, back to the walking, what made it really irritating is there's a lot of collectibles in this game. And so you have to spend a lot of your time exploring. I don't mind that. It's just you got to pick up the pace. And this game suffers so badly from pacing. And
There's
so
a lot of backtracking.
Yeah, a lot. So that's the real knock on the game. Just the speed of the game is very, very slow. But before we get into gameplay, I know I'm jumping around all over the show notes here, but let's go ahead and talk about the story. Because I know that's kind of one of the things we like about this game the most. It's gonna be a little difficult to kind of talk about the story without giving away a lot of spoilers. So anything within like the first like hour, I think is fair game, just because that's fine, but no major thing. So basically, the gist of the story is you play as a gal named Marianne, who has the ability to see spirits and the spirit world at the same time as living in the regular world. They kind of give you a little bit of insight into her character. About, like, oh, she grew up basically an outcast, but some guy took her in, foster home, and kind of raised her and taught her how to, grow that ability, which is cool. Good. I felt that whole opening sequence when you're kind of getting to hang out with the character was pretty cool. With Marianne and, I forgot her. The other guy's name. Jack. Was a pretty cool sequence, but I want to get you guys' stuff. Yeah, Garrett, let's go ahead and start with. Well, you're taking your Adrian. We'll start with you.
I'm good. I'm ready. I'm here.
What are your feelings on that first initial sequence, and the setting, the tone setting, basically of the game? How did it resonate with you at all? Was there anything that you kind of gleaned from it? How do you feel in general about just like that story and how it started?
Are you asking me or Garrett? Because
Adrian, sorry. Yes.
Okay.
It's too late. Garrett was drinking water.
I do think it was a good way to set up the tone, kind of give us a feel of how Marianne deals with her relationships with people, especially with, I guess you could say, loved ones, because it was her foster father. Mm-hmm. And it kind of explains how she was able to, not kind of, it does. It explains how she's able to conversate and deal with the characters that she meets throughout the game. And I guess it's not a spoiler to say that she helps them, because that's what mediums do, is they communicate with spirits. In her communication skills with spirits, they're kind of alluded to throughout that scene which is probably, it's kind of like how they did. Oh, wait, you didn't play that. I was going to say in Last of Us. Garrett knows what I'm talking about. In the house, when you go through somebody's stuff.
I played Last of Us Part 1.
It's Part 2.
In Part 2.
Oh.
Yeah.
I think I know what you're talking about. Remember, I only got through half the game. Well, you remember this part, but okay. It's
just going through this person's things and kind of remembering them and their recollections and how their inner dialogue kind of becomes their outer dialogue as you go through the game. So it's a really good indicator of that.
Yeah. Garrett, what are your thoughts on the story so far?
So as far as the first hour, like we were mentioning before, I think that was a really good way to kind of, for a game that was about to get buck wild crazy, is a good grounding point. Be like, hey, she's a normal girl. Wow. She's not a normal girl, but she has like a somewhat normal life. Like she helps like run this funeral home with her foster dad, Jack. You find out he just passed away. And you kind of go through like these different memories and like pictures on the wall and like wall hangings. It is kind of neat to like, okay, like she's a person, this Jack's a person. There's something interesting and unique about her, which at this point you don't necessarily understand. Like I think right at the beginning, like it gives you a tutorial, like you can hit a button and you have like this extra sense, but that's all it is. Like, oh, I've like his tie pin is hiding somewhere on a shelf and you couldn't see it without using your spidey sense kind of thing.
Yeah.
But then like, yeah, then a little bit later, then you're like, oh, okay, this is what her like powers really are when she, starts talking with different spirits and stuff like that. And so I think that was kind of an interesting way to start it off, because it's like, oh wait, she seems like pretty normal, and then like very quickly they're like, no, but check this out. She has this ability, she has this power, she has this baggage, like, and then you even kind of start learn more about the character and like what she like. You find out like, oh, was adopted, or she was like this man was fostering her, and very neat way to start off a story that, again, like I said, is about to get buck wild, like make it seem so plain and normal and simple, and then it's like boom, and then it gets like crazy when you get later on the story. I'm loving it. Like I am really digging it. Like the characters so far are interesting, whether it's the antagonist or the other supporting characters that you start running into. I guess Marianne specifically, as Adrian kind of mentioned before, she has some weird dialogue and like, I don't know, that's the biggest thing, like very dry, or just like that didn't quite hit like what they were thinking. Like, that doesn't really make any sense. Like, that's kind of weird. Yeah. But like all the supporting cast essentially is like killer.
Really well done. Yeah.
Actually, and like the whole mystery that's going on in, the hotel, I guess, I don't know if that's a spoiler. There's a mystery in a hotel. Then like I'm digging it. And I love how there's like different stories that you're learning about to figure out, like to get a bigger picture, you're learning all these smaller stories about these different characters. They did a great job with that. But overall, yeah, it's I enjoyed the story, I guess I could say. I was going to go into gameplay again, but that's not yet. We're not talking about gameplay.
Yeah, hold that.
Story I really like.
Yeah, there's a lot to say about the gameplay. Yeah, storyline for me picks up really well.
Okay. Yeah, one last thing. I just want to say, like, it is slow though. Like, and I know we've talked about it's not necessarily a bad thing, but it is slow. They drip feed it to you a little bit.
Yeah, which isn't bad. I don't mind that the story is slow. I just want to play the game at more of a pace that where I want to, be like, okay, well, I need to go there, so let me run over there a little quicker. Like, I don't mind that, The story doesn't really get good until about the 4-hour mark. Like, it felt like everything was like slow, creepy, and weird, but then you finally meet the big bad, and you're like, oh, that's what I'm up against? Okay, cool. And then, I don't want to go into too many spoilers, but just let me suffice it to say that, like, I didn't think the game was good until about a little bit after meeting the big bad, because it was like, okay, that was creepy, and then you find out some other stuff. You're like, oh dang, this got really wild. So
yeah,
the story is it opens up with like a really weird dream about a little girl running through the woods, and then I'm a sucker for anything with kids, and so this guy is chasing this girl in the beginning of the game. Like, this is the very first opening sequence, and at the end of it, he pulls the gun out on her, and you're like, did she get shot? Did she die? I don't know. And then it goes to then it cuts to Marianne, and she just says something like, it always starts with a girl, and that's kind of like that's like harkened back to. So it's like something big happened with this event.
Instance, yeah.
And you're I'm thinking it ends up getting played out where you end up going. So basically, she helps out Jack at the funeral home, and things like that, and then finds herself on the road to this big old resort, and then that's where the story really kind of starts to unfold. It's like they kind of take that first part of it just to kind of teach you the basics like normal. When she sees that thing at the top of the stairs when you're in the morgue,
oh man,
I freaked. I freaked
out too. I was like, no.
I'm cool.
Happening? It's starting already. Okay. Gotta get my Got pumped. Gotta get pumped.
It was funny. I wasn't scared. I knew what it was. I was like, oh, it's just it is what it's nothing to be scared of. It's just they're trying to give you the feels. So I was like, I wasn't scared of that part.
Yeah.
But once I finally,
for me though, I was waiting to go around that corner and see something. I was like, okay.
Oh boy. Shake it out now.
Shake it out. So yeah, the story, I feel like if you're just in the mood for a good narrative or an interesting psychological horror, this game does that well. This, from a story perspective, this game does that really, really well.
Very good.
But we're now about at the 30-minute mark, so I know we have a lot of thoughts on the gameplay itself. So let's go ahead and jump into that, because this is what the game does not do well. It is, we've already mentioned it several times. It's slow moving, so I don't want to beat that horse anymore. The collectibles in the game are interesting because they kind of like, it's what a lot of other games do. They tell you the story through things you pick up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which I like, and they do that. That's part of the gameplay that I appreciate the most. But I'll save my thoughts kind of towards the end. Garrett, we'll go circle back around to me. So, yeah, Garrett, what are some of your thoughts on the gameplay in general? Things that you love, things that you don't love.
So I think the idea of the split realities is like that whole idea is like really interesting, and it's a really cool thing to do like once in a while, but it kind of gets old real quick. Like there's a couple puzzles where you're like flipping back and forth, and I don't know, I don't think it's really a spoiler. You can use mirrors at one point. I'm just going to say that much. And it's just like flip. Like, you got to flip in one mirror and then go to another room and flip in another mirror and go to another room and go down a hallway and flip in another mirror. It's just like, okay, like, why can't we just have that's not a puzzle. That's just me following.
Going back and forth.
Yeah, it's me following a hallway. Like they kind of force you down a certain way. Like it's not like an open world. So it's very much like a linear, straight path, extremely linear. Like there's a few times where it tricks you. Like it's almost like, oh wait, I want to go check that corner because there might be something over there, and then you go over there and there's nothing there. Like it's empty. It's like, I just wasted 10 minutes because you walk so slow to go over there and then come back for nothing. There's nothing over there. And then like maybe like a poster on the wall you can look at, and it's like, cool, there's a poster about like a ballerina or something, like a ballet that's happening. And then and then you just with the puzzles and stuff, it's very much just like, well, just follow the hallway. Like it just never really actually challenges you. It's just it's a hide and seek game where in order to find things, you just hit a button and you use your spidey sense and you can see where it is. So it's never really actually hiding. So that's very much like lacking. Like so the implementation of the dual reality is just like kind of gets cumbersome and annoying eventually. And then with the actual like puzzles that they try to do the puzzles with the split reality, but it ends up just being, again, like use my spidey sense and find the object that I need to get past this problem. So I don't know, that's just one. I don't know if you want me to keep going or just do one thing and pass on to Adrian. Like, I don't know if he has something that irks him.
I mean, if you're done talking, you can just keep rolling.
I have more, but I'll let Adrian go ahead and take one.
Oh, no, let's just talk about that. Adrian, do you have any comments on kind of what Garrett had just said before we move on?
Yeah.
I'm right there with him as far as the dual world rendering. I think that could have been, those resources could have been put towards increasing the fidelity, because I did notice that it does drop a good deal at certain points. I do like that they included ray tracing in a lot of areas, but it definitely does drop the resolution down when you have that and two gameplay instances going on. I wish they would have. I feel like there was an argument in the development in the studio, like, should we do both at the same time, or should we have the player switch back between one to the other? And somebody said, well, if we did both of these, nobody's ever done that before. That could help us stand out. And I just think that was not the right call.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like Garrett said, it's cool for 5 minutes. It's like, whoa, it's running two games. It's running two games at the same time. But then it's like, okay, I'm trying to focus here. I need to. So,
yeah.
As far as actually the controls, I get that they were trying to do the old Resident Evil Silent Hill homage with the kind of a slow burn movement and allowing you to take in the atmosphere and allowing things to start get creepier as you go through and through. But like we were discussing earlier off camera, it's just you have to modernize those things. You can take the good from them, but you also have to modernize them so that they work well today. And it's just you walk too slow. You walk too slow all the time. I'm fine with walking slow in certain sections, but if I have to backtrack, like you make me do sometimes, I don't want to have to walk slow to go back to where I had to go and then walk slow all the way to where I need to be to continue to walk slow after that.
Yeah.
You know,
I don't know how that was missed in QA. I mean, maybe they just played it for so long that they just didn't realize how slow they were walking. But whoever QA'd that needed to say something because it is, or maybe they did say something and they just ignored it. But
yeah,
it drives me nuts. It is literally the reason why I am stopping my playthrough right now. Like I have so many other games that are worth my time right now that this game is, despite how interesting the story is.
I wouldn't be surprised if they did an update and added a sprint function. I really would not.
There is a sprint function. It just doesn't work that way.
No, I mean like a full-on sprint, like when you play RE and you can hold down X and you start to pick up the pace the whole time, like that.
Yeah, yeah. I really hope they consider adding that in because, man.
One thing with like the slow pace, like it does add to the tension in some areas. Like that's the one thing it does really well is like, to me, it feels like in very key areas, it's really good at building that tension.
Yeah,
like the first.
That's
time
what I'm saying. It's certain places I don't mind walking slow.
Yeah, so
but not everywhere.
A couple times with the antagonist, like when you first meet them, and it's like, oh man, like I wish I could move faster right now, and like you can't, like you're stuck doing your little thing. But other
it works
that,
perfect there.
But everywhere else, it's like now that I'm out in the world trying to find this shred of paper that has a phone number on it or something. It's like, just let me move.
Yeah.
No, those are all very valid. I think one of my main things that kind of propel the conversation a little bit farther would be the puzzles in this game are boring and not fun. Like the photo thing that you have to do twice.
Well, and the second time, they make you collect all the ingredients, too.
Yeah.
When they did that, I'm just like, why? Just have it there for me.
I can't wait to do
already.
This. Yeah, like that was, I was like, come on. Or the clock thing, I didn't like that. It was like, oh, so all I got to do is hold this direction and then listen to that and then hold it back and listen to that.
Yeah, that was only interesting because depending on how you play the game, you could just go to like the point in the clock where you need to do the next thing. But if you keep rewinding and moving, like there's other memories and things you learn about the story that you could easily miss. So that was interesting, but it's not a puzzle. Like it's not a puzzle. It's just like a cool like mechanic if you wanted more lore in the game. Like it was just like, okay, like that's kind of neat. But
Do I have to walk slow through that too? Nah, I'm good then.
Yeah. I do like how they have like the memories kind of buried into certain objects and you kind of got to find
that was pretty neat.
So that was cool, and I enjoy. Most of those are really well acted. Some of them are just really kind of flat, very B level.
Yeah. I really dug how you like kind of reconstruct them.
Yeah,
like you have to put the ghost particle stuff like all together to get the memory to come up. That was pretty neat.
Yeah, very clever. There's only been like only one jump scare in this entire thing, which
I know the one you're talking about.
Yeah. Was there a bathtub?
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
That's it. That's the only one. And it got me good. It got me really good.
That was a good
one. It scared the bejesus out of me.
I had all the lights off. I'm sitting in the office, pitch black, and all of a sudden, like I had it way too loud in my headphones. I'm like, BAM! It's like, oh my gosh. So bad.
I yelled. I'm sitting there. I have like a little gaming chair, so I'm sitting there, and I'm in like one of those little gaming chairs that like scoops. It's kind of like this, and it's like that, and it kind of clamps down. So I'm sitting there in one of those, right? That's what I have. So I'm sitting, and my wife kind of comes out. I hear her making coffee, getting ready to go to bed. I'm like, okay, cool. So all the lights are totally off, and I go scared. All of a sudden, the jump scare's like, whoa! I nearly almost throw my controller. My
wife is across the room.
My wife is chuckling.
Oh no!
I go to bed. I was like, well, that game kind of scared me. She's like, yeah, I heard you.
Yeah, I know it did.
So that part was pretty interesting. I still haven't had any resolution to it. I don't know what the heck that thing even was.
No.
So
I don't know if I want to know.
Not yet.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, for the most part, it feels very much on rails. Very slow rails. And I just can't do it anymore. Like I can't. I don't know. I'll probably come back and finish this game eventually, but I'm not right now.
I might watch it.
Yeah. And that's at the beginning you made a point about watching it, and I was telling Zech a little earlier before you jumped on the call. I played about 4.5 hours. And then today during work, while I was doing working on a spreadsheet on one monitor, I had a gameplay, like a no commentary gameplay of it up on the other one. And I just started watching and listening to that. And honestly, I enjoyed the heck out of it. It's a great movie, or treat it like a TV show, like an AMC TV show. I don't know, whatever, just, you know, watch an hour or so a day. You can finish it in 5 days, get a good week out of it. Honestly, I wasn't, because I love the story. That's the thing. I'm interested in the story and the characters and the antagonist and the different weird spirits and stuff. Okay, this world is neat, but the gameplay sucks. So watching it on YouTube has been incredible. I was like, this is great. I'm not gonna finish playing it, but I will finish watching it. I have that video bookmarked, and I'm gonna go back tomorrow during work. And if I'm working on a Word doc or spreadsheet, I'm gonna have that on the other monitor, just watching that. It's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think so too.
This would have been an incredible TV series or even movie if they condensed it down to a couple hours. But it's the game,
visual novel, something.
Yeah,
not a game.
It feels like a really solid AA game.
Yeah,
and I think that's part of the reason I am so disappointed with it, because I felt like going into this, I felt I was going to be met with a AAA game.
Well, that's what they tried to market it as. I feel like the only thing I've ever seen this as is this is the next big Xbox exclusive. This is, you thought Halo was going to be the only one? No, this was coming right behind it. That's what it always felt like from when they announced it.
I mean, Microsoft put big bucks into marketing it. Every time they did a Series X, any sort of reveal or update, there was a little teaser trailer, gameplay, or whatever from this game. They were pushing it hard, and they were very specific to show it off only on Xbox Series X and S and PC and all that stuff. And it's okay, cool, I'm gonna play it on the most powerful console in the world. Sounds good. It's better. It's gonna be awesome. Microsoft is marketing it and then pushing it hard. And then for it to be what it is, it's no, what is this?
And honestly, it would be a really fun game if they just made it faster.
Yeah,
that's the thing. Really, it's minor tweaks the gameplay, and it'd be fantastic.
If I hear of an update that they speed it up, I'm there.
I agree, and it's kind of that mentality of a death by 1,000 cuts. It's because as I said, it's the story is so compelling, especially when you get to the part with the kids. And you're oh man, some of the stuff that happens, the way they reveal characters and their the way you kind of see those characters as stories, kind of their origins and how they play out just through her kind of interacting with the world is really cool and really well done. And I don't think the game is meant to be scary. It's just supposed to mess with your head.
It's off-putting, that's for sure. When you first meet. Well, I was going to say when you first meet, but any interaction I've had with Sadness, I'm just going to say the name. I'm not going to go into her story or anything. I mean, spoil that. But Sadness, gives me this vibe every time where I'm just I don't know about this. I feel so uneasy about her. I don't know.
Really?
I don't know. I feel I guess for me, I keep waiting for a turn or something. I mean, I take that back because now I know. Again, I don't want to spoil too much of the story. I don't know. For a while, I was just really feeling I don't know about her. And even just like the character design, which is incredible. Like that's the whole thing too.
Yeah.
Like
she's
to
an
look
awesome
at,
design.
it's just like, holy cow. Like it's awesome, but it's like so off-putting and like creepy. I'm just like, I don't know about her. Like it's weird. Like I don't like it.
I just feel like if anybody in that spirit realm wanted to do something to you, they would have done it. So like if
that's true.
she hasn't done anything to us by now, she's probably not going to do anything. I think she's just a spirit kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. She is. I do like her character though, very much.
Yeah.
And
No,
the models.
great.
Yeah.
So
The
good.
design of the world is really well put together too. Like you just look at like the detail, just like even just like the light particles floating around and all that stuff. It's probably one of the best.
It looks good on both
creepy-
sides.
Yeah, yeah, one of the best creepy
Gorgeous.
worlds I've ever been in for a game. Anyway, apart from maybe Half-Life Alex, which is got you in some really uncomfortable.
We're going to work it into
situations.
every episode. I don't blame you. Bounce in that check.
It doesn't get any creepier than going through the creepy old fungus infested hotel in Half-Life Alex. Where am I at here on my notes? Dual rendering, we kind of touched on that, right? It feels kind of gimmicky to me. And I think you guys kind of already said it already. You know, it just feels, it's cool, good concept, but it doesn't have any real weight in the storytelling, the narrative, or even the gameplay itself. It's just something like they're like, hey, look what we can do. And then they don't even really use it to
two games, same time.
And that's really it. I mean,
like
Adrian,
imagine if you could do one game at 4K 60 frames per second with like way higher resolution, like
which is what they could have done
with better ray tracing.
Yeah, that's
than,
the other thing too.
Yeah, dropping the resolution with the ray tracing on and stuff like that. Yeah.
The ray trace. So, two things. Number one, so as for here, Super Gamer Boys, I'm playing through Dead Space, right? Which is for a book club for March. So any of our listeners that want to, get in on that action, it's a book club episode. We're going to take a deep dive into what makes that game so awesome.
It's on Game Pass. You have no excuse.
Boys.
It's on Game Pass. You have no excuse.
Yeah, go check it out. Because honestly, if you're looking for a scary game,
that's the one.
Dead Space is the game. Dead Space. I've beaten that game twice already in my lifetime. Right, since that game came out in 2008, I've beaten it twice. That game still scares me, and I'm not playing it on hard. I was playing it on medium.
Yep.
And the reason why it scares me is because they have the lighting effects dialed in, the sound effects dialed in, or lack thereof at times when there is no sound. That game is a masterclass in horror.
So good.
This game is not scary. Even when you do officially meet the big bad, I'm still not really that scared.
It's tense and it's creepy, not scary.
Yeah. Like, okay, I just gotta do this. I mean, maybe if we ever had a spoiler cast, I can actually get into some more details about why it's not. But suffice it, I'm not scared. I'm not scared when I meet the big bad. And in terms of ray tracing, I just discovered Control Ultimate Edition. That game looks more next gen than the medium does.
Yeah, it came
Like
out
the
in
way
2019.
Yeah, like the ray tracing in that game is just unbelievable.
Yeah.
And I think playing these other games at the same time I'm playing the true quote unquote real next gen game is just kind of is even more off-putting to me in this game. So
Crazy.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. Are we going to talk about the music?
Yes, that's next.
The soundtrack. Holy cow, the soundtrack.
Banger.
Go ahead.
Banger. Especially the Spirit World.
Yeah, carry it away, Garrett.
So
What do you
good.
think?
Well, I don't know any of the names of the tracks or anything like that, but you go from room to room, world to world, wherever you go. The soundtrack is what adds a lot of tension. Oh man, there's one point, I think it's just in the beginning when you're walking through a forest.
Mm-hmm.
At this point, you haven't experienced anything yet, so you have nothing to be scared of. But the music is just like, oh man, like I am
Something's
so
coming.
I am on edge
Something
right now.
coming.
And it's like this really cool, like a little orchestral, but then like the synth in there, and then like has that like, you know, your stereotypical creepy horror kind of music, but then again with that synth, like it just adds it. I don't know, it's so good. I added the album on Spotify. Like it's so good. I was listening through it like this afternoon. I'm like, it's just so good. Like it gets you so intense, like so pumped up. I don't know these people. You have some names on there. I've never heard of these composers, but they killed it.
Yeah, Rakowski did the soundtracks. I totally messed up that name. It's a terrible name. Or terrible way to pronounce it. I apologize. He did the soundtrack for Layers of Fear, Blair Witch, and Observer. More interesting enough is the other guy, Akira Yamako.
My boy Yamaoka-san.
Yeah, he did the soundtrack for Silent Hill.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be why you get that very colorful piece of.
He's a
horror.
beast.
Yeah, he's good. It's very, very good. I don't think the soundtrack is enough to save the game.
No.
Especially since the soundtrack builds it up like something's gonna jump out at you at any moment, but nothing ever does.
So that means the soundtrack's doing its job, but the game's not.
Yeah,
Exactly. Yeah. Like the soundtrack gets you ready for something. I'm like, oh, come on, scare me right now. Hit me with it. And then like nothing. I'm like, okay, well now the adrenaline's flowing. I'm ready to go run around. I'm gonna go do like 10 laps around my house right now. Like I gotta walk this off. Oh man.
Yeah. No, I do enjoy. I do enjoy the sound effects too in the game. Pretty well done. I don't know who the sound effects, but like just like when you go to cut open some of the walls in the game, some of the barriers.
Oh gosh.
It's like which also, but to play against that also takes forever.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, you are kind of, well.
It's like, okay, like really?
It's also how you tilt the joystick too, apparently. Like you're supposed to like guide with your thumb, like the razor down the tab.
Incision
area. If you don't follow the line, then it just goes even slower. Like, please, for the love of God.
Yeah. It's like,
I'm tired of doing this. It sucks already.
Yeah. The sound of some of the moth beetle things, I don't know what they are that you find in the game.
The design is really good.
Yeah.
Oh, the overall sound design,
super good. And even when you have she has like that little power shield and you can like walk through them hitting that and like burning up, you know, pretty well.
Talking about this makes me so frustrated, man, because it's so close. It's so close.
That's something I just realized we didn't even talk about is her powers. Apparently that she can use the light of positivity in this dark world that she finds.
Mm-hmm.
That's a little bizarre, huh? Like she can
give you some kind of.
She can use these positive vibes, these good vibes, to spark a transformer in the upside down in order to turn on an elevator in the real world. Like, what the heck is going on here? Like, what is this?
They had to give you some kind of defense mechanism. They had to give you something, and that's what they came up with is the power of vibes.
The power of vibes.
What are they? I think it's from isn't it called like a spirit well or something like that you go to like supercharge?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know where she's getting these good vibes from. The souls of the dead, apparently.
Yeah.
Just as bad as the bad guy. Sucking out the dead.
Oh man. It's crazy.
But yeah, and you can like do like the force push thing or whatever it is to like, you know, turn things on. And so apparently the spirit realm can turn on That's the other thing too. You know what it is? Being a rational human being who believes in science. This game, so I'm able to suspend my disbelief in a lot of moments. You really have to suspend your disbelief in order for the puzzle solving to work in this game. That's kind of it. Like when you're in the spirit world, I'm like, okay, all these spirit world thingies connect because they're all in the spirit world. But once the spirit world starts affecting the real world through powers of like point in case the freaking elevator.
Or open a door or whatever
doors.
it is. Yeah.
I mean, that's any horror movie ever, though. Like, it's always the big bad, you know, somebody's moving a lamp across the table or pulling your covers off of you or making something fall off a shelf. So It works.
Yeah.
I guess from that perspective, yeah, because she's kind of
Poltergeist is like
yeah.
the textbook, study of that.
Yeah. That's a good point. Okay. That makes more sense because especially in the context of her having like out of body experiences, where she can kind of walk around, which I actually thought that was kind of done pretty cool too, because she can't be away from her body that long.
Yeah, because she starts deteriorating. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then I didn't notice it at first. I was like, oh, I'm on a timer. And then I was like, oh, wait a second.
I am the timer.
I'm disappearing right now.
Yeah, your body starts deteriorating and disappearing. Although then like 30 minutes later after that happens, there's a sequence where all of a sudden you're only in the other reality.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, so it just breaks the logic that you set up back here. Because now I'm able to just go.
That hard.
You're just vibing so hard.
We're just vibing that hard.
Yeah.
Your body in the real world is just walking through walls now.
That's good. That's good vibe only mode.
Although, doesn't she say when that happens, you're like, oh, I've never had this happen before.
She does say that. So it's like a way to like kind of get a like retcon what they did earlier and work your way around it.
Plot armor.
Like, why set up this cool thing back here and then break it 30 minutes later?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's kind of it. I mean, let's do a last call. I mean, that's everything about the game that we can possibly discuss without actually getting into spoilers.
Mm-hmm.
We covered powers, we covered music, we covered gameplay extensively. At the end of the day, do we recommend this game? And do you have any stipulations on your recommendation? So, Adrian, start with you. We'll work way back around.
I would say it's on Game Pass. It's for the amount of good that we've said about it. It's at least worth the try and to see if you like it. There is a lot to like, but there's also a good deal that kind of can irk you and take you out of it. But who knows? We have differing opinions. You may differ from ours. I think it's for free. Well, I guess not free because you pay for Game Pass, but for not $50
free,
it's worth a shot.
Yeah.
Only thing you lose is gigabytes and time.
Lots of time. Garrett.
I will agree with Adrian. If you have Game Pass, give it a shot. Why not? What's the worst that'll happen? But my real recommendation is, after what I experienced today, was watching a playthrough on YouTube. If you don't have it, don't pay for it. Don't pay $50 to play this, please. I beg you. Just go to YouTube, because honestly, it was such a good, I don't know if I was sitting there focusing on it, if it'd be that entertaining, because again, it's slow. But if you have it on in the background and you're listening to the story, it makes a really good radio drama. That's for sure. It was great to listen to, and then peek over once in a while and see, because there is some beautiful character models and amazing environments that you go through. So still to see some of those visuals is great. But I was more entertained to just watch the YouTube video than to play the game. That's how I'm going to do it. I'm not going to finish playing the game. I'm just going to finish it out on YouTube, because I can skip the parts where she's just scanning around a room for 10 minutes looking for a piece of note paper, and I can get all the awesome story that's in there about this crazy resort that you stumble upon. So,
yeah, my final opinion on this is similar to Adrian's. I wouldn't spend a dime on this game. The only way I'd play this game is if you have access to Game Pass and your interest outweighs the negative stuff we've said about it. So if you're interested in checking it out, go for it, because it's the story is interesting, but man, that game is just hard to swallow. I added it to my backlog list, so I might come back to it eventually. But right now I got so many other games I'd much rather spend my time doing than moseying from room to room in a creepy resort.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
So I also want to give a shout out to RG Squeegee for giving us a subscription.
Yeah,
thank you, buddy.
So much.
You're awesome. So we appreciate your following, appreciate your feedback, and yeah, man, love you. Thank you so much. So, but that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Super Gamer Boys Live. Be sure to follow the Mainline podcast on any of your, podcast apps of choice. We're on Spotify, we're on Overcast, we're on Apple, we're on Google. You name it, we're there. Be sure to also check us out on YouTube. You can also find the podcast on YouTube. And then if you also want to subscribe to our Patreon, you can get extra bonus episodes there monthly. We have our Super Gamer Boys book club where we go in depth on any of the major. We're working our way through any of the major story releases, or not story, any major titles over the last, ever since the dawn of video games, essentially. We've done Halo 4, we've done The Last of Us, we've done Far Cry 3, which will be dropping next week. And then next month, we're doing Dead Space. And there's Mass Effect 2 was the other one we've done so far.
Yeah,
so
did you say BioShock?
And BioShock, yeah, the first one, yeah.
One.
Yep.
So
good.
Yeah, awesome. And then it's a really fun time. We have some really good, deep conversations in there, just about honestly, we get really philosophical, really kind of existential sometimes with those conversations, and we talk beyond just, was this game fun? We talk about, what was this game really trying to say? Is really kind of the purpose of the book club. So that's really fun. So yeah, thanks again for tuning in. Hope you guys have a good rest of your week. Have a good weekend. And we'll see you, as Garrett likes to say, we'll catch you on the flippity flop.
Hey. See ya.
Bye.